Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Karen, very much. And thank you all for the privilege of inviting me to share with you over the last 2 days. This has been stimulating and it's been exciting, but it's also armed me with more prayers for all of you, wherever you are. I've appreciated the speakers. I've appreciated the chat. I've appreciated the cleverness of the video clips. And I'm sure you'd all want to say thank you to Mike for putting all of that together for us. So to close these 2 days, I'm going to share half an hour, 25 minutes with you as a little bit of soul nourishment before we go on our different ways. If this was in Swanwick, we'd all be packing our cases and making sure that we knew when the train was leaving or how long it was going to take us by car. But before we go off to do other things, just a little pause for reflection. From the first day of lockdown in March 2020, I've been writing a thought for the day. These began as a help for other people, particularly 2 small rural churches that I look after. And I've been publishing them online as well. Hopefully they're helpful to other people, and that's why they were started. But they've become increasingly important to me. They have been, if you like, a lifeline for me during COVID. And it's not too much to say that this has been the most reflective period in my life. And I am 72 this year. So I write and I reflect, and hopefully that's beneficial to other people. Somebody used the phrase earlier that we can hug each other with words, which I like. So today, using words and some images, I want to help us all to reflect on what we've shared over these 2 days and the role that you find yourself in chaplaincy. And I want to take you to 3 different places to encourage you to reflect on different aspects of our life and our faith position, all of which we've touched on in the presentations and in our discussions in the last 2 days, so that we can allow our soul to be nourished. And it might be that one of these works for you, or it might be that all of them work for you, or it might be that none of them work for you. If it's the latter, then just enjoy the pictures and enjoy the words and feel that you're being hugged by what's being shared, and don't think too much and don't go into too much analysis. So I'll share a picture or pictures with you and then reflect on it for a moment. And then I'll read a short piece from one of my thoughts for the day. And I'll close each section with a 1-sentence prayer and a moment of silence. And if you just forgive me for just a second, I'm going to go on to screen share, and then we'll take it on from there. I've picked up a number of words over the last 2 days. From the beginning of the session yesterday, the word stress, shielding, lockdown, restrictions, dislocation, sadness, the phrase "in a separate room from the decision makers." And somebody said, not the way we would normally choose to do things. And from today, working hard at being positive, having to say no, competing voices, and feeling slightly disarmed. And all of these things, I think, can be echoed in different ways by different chaplains in different locations. It's part of who we are, and it's part of what we are. I live in the village of Port Seaton on the East Lothian coast. And Port Seaton remains a fishing village. So we walk our dog down by the harbour, And in lockdown, that view was the view that we saw every day as we went out for our obligatory hour walk along the promenade. The harbour is full of fishing boats, as you can see, but it's also full of other things, because stacked up at the side of the harbour, as well as yachts that are waiting for the summer to go into the water, there are the working artifacts of the fishermen. And part of those working tools, if you like, are lobster creels, which you'll see there in front of you. I've only learned recently about lobster creels because the fishermen are always pleased to tell you about things. They're delighted if you ask questions. So those of us who feel disarmed or disabled or under stress or restricted or sad or carrying a heavy load, here's a little reflection based on what you see in front of you today that you might relate to. It's called Escape, and it begins with a verse from Psalm 124. Our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowlers. The snare is broken and we are escaped. Port Seton Harbour used to be teeming with fishing boats as the herring fleets followed the best fishing along the east coast. It's still a working harbour, though the fishing now is a fraction of what it was, with most of the boats searching for shellfish. So that's why the harbour is full of creels, piled up, waiting to be repaired, being baited, ready for the next trip to sea. These creels are for lobster fishing, the creme de la creme of the shellfish haul. A lobster creel is a cunning device with a tunnel of netting in each side. Once the lobster, or more than one on a good day, is enticed into the creel by the bait, it can't get out again. The tunnel is one way and the lobster is trapped. I feel that I'm trapped just now. Restrictions placed on me hold me in a set of circumstances I don't want to be in. There was no bait to lure me here, but I've come through a tunnel into a place that makes me afraid. Unlike the lobster, I know I'll be released in time to be able to do what I want to do once more. But for now, what do I do about feeling trapped? The writer of Psalm 124 was afraid. His people knew about entrapment, pressed on every side, swallowed up by the waters, a prey to their foes. And yet the psalmist could say, the trap is broken. We have an escape. Our soul can be free. The trap for him was physical. But despite that, in his soul, the core of his being, he had already found freedom in meaning and purpose, in self-belief and his faith in God. The artist, J.M.W. Turner, after experiencing a storm on a Margate steamer, wrote, "I did not expect to escape, but I felt bound to record it if I did." He did just that in the beauty of his paintings. In our entrapment, though we may fear there is no escape, our soul can find freedom. are we not bound then to record that and be thankful when it happens? So how do we relate to the feeling of being trapped? And how do we relate to knowing or believing even a little bit that we have our escape, that we can rejoice in and be glad? So this prayer. Loving God, when I am afraid, give me peace. When I express my fears, be patient with me. When I feel there's no escape, bless me with a freedom for my soul. Amen. We'll just pause for a moment of quietness and we can reflect on the creoles in Port Seton Harbour. The next place I want to take you to is Iona Abbey. Iona Abbey is my spiritual home, a place and a set of feelings that have been important to me in all my adult life. Iona Abbey has been closed because of COVID, closed to visitors, and the living quarters closed to guests. So they've had to go through the same kind of issues that we've had to go through wherever we find ourselves. Iona Abbey has many interesting things in it, some of which you can see in front of you, the marble communion table being one of them. But some of them are difficult to see. If you were to follow that central aisle up to the communion table and stand in front of it and take a 90-degree turn to the right, you would see up on the wall a little carving of a monkey. This was discovered when the abbey was being restored in the early part of the last century. And when they scraped away all the stuff around other carvings, they found next to it the carving of a cat, a monkey and a cat sitting side by side above the communion table in a medieval abbey. You and I know that in all that we've come through in the past year, there has been a cost to us. There's a weariness on us, and there's therefore the necessity to look after our well-being, however we describe it, pressing the reset button, dealing with questions, asking ourselves what we believe, being perhaps at a crucial point of our life and our faith. The monkey and the cat sitting next to one another in a medieval abbey. And why? Because these two carvings represented for the medieval monks the two sides of their life. There was the busy side, the working side, the activity side of the monkey. And there was the quiet side, the restful side, the contemplative side of the cat. You and I inhabit the space between the monkey and the cat and try to find a balance. Sometimes the balance goes too far towards the monkey and we get overwhelmed with busyness. So, to restore the balance, we go back and spend time with the cat so that we can be at rest and at peace. I hope and pray that in your weariness and in all that weighs you down, you will find that balance. Perhaps we need to spend more time with the cat and then go back to the monkey when we're ready. But I hope you can find that balance between the two sides of your life and your faith. So the thought for the day was entitled Equilibrium, and this is what it says. In Daniel chapter 5, we find these words, "Thou art weighed in the balance and found wanting." That quotation comes from the amazing story of Daniel being called to interpret the writing on the wall of King Nebuchadnezzar's palace. Mene, mene, tekel upharsin, the finger had written, a warning for the king and his kingdom that things were not as they should be. The balance was disastrously wrong. And it was a warning to every nation and every community as it seeks lasting stability. But it might equally be a challenge to us, not just relating to bad living, though if the cap fits, but to find a life that's in balance, to make sure we live with equilibrium. When I spent time with the Church of the Savior in Washington, D.C. in 1989, this equilibrium was described as the journey inward and the journey outward, a balance between the spiritual and the material, reflection and action. Finlay Edge, in a review of the Church of Saviour's Handbook for Mission Groups, says, "It may seem strange that the Church, which for the past 2 decades has been the model of being the most socially involved and activist, is the Church that is now magnifying the inner life of devotion and contemplation. This is balance. This is equilibrium." In his wonderful book, Bless the Space Between Us, John O'Donoghue offers a prayer for equilibrium. His words, therefore, are our prayer for this section. Like the joy of the sea coming to shore, may the relief of laughter rinse through your soul. As the wind loves to call things to dance, may your gravity be lightened by grace. Like the dignity of moonlight restoring the earth, may your thoughts incline with reverence and respect. As water takes whatever shape it is in, so free may you be about what you become. As silence smiles on the other side of what's said, may your sense of irony bring perspective. As time remains free of all that it frames, may your mind stay clear of all that it names. May your prayer of listening deepen enough to hear in the depths the laughter of God. So with the image of the monkey and the cat, we leave you for a moment to reflect on balance, on equilibrium, on the cat and the monkey in your own life and faith. And finally, I want to take you via this book to another place, the third and final place, the Hermitage Museum and Art Gallery in St. Petersburg. This is one of my favorite books of all time, written by Henry Nouwen and based on a painting by Rembrandt that hangs in that museum, The Return of the Prodigal Son. It's a remarkable story, a remarkable painting, which enshrines all that we would hope to see in this amazing story of the prodigal son coming home. Somebody used the phrase today, I may have failed, but I am not crushed. If ever there was failure, it was in the prodigal son. But here's the father blessing him and saying, you are not crushed, my child, when you are restored, now that you are home. The father blesses his son, who kneels before him and who's clearly rushed so much to be there that one of his shoes has come off. He's in a hurry to find blessing, and his father gently gives it to him. The father, with all the wisdom that Rembrandt can put in an old man's face, leans forward, perhaps saying nothing, but blessing his child. Meanwhile, there are other people who look on the scene. Whoever they are, and we're not told, they gaze on what is happening in front of them. None of them are speaking. One of them, indeed, is a shadowy figure in the background. None of them are frowning, and none of them are withdrawing. But none of them are involved as the father is involved. They watch while the father gives his blessing. They watch while the man heals in front of the father who's welcomed him home. And it's that sense of blessing that I want to leave you with today. That sense that whatever it means to us, whatever brokenness we feel, whatever we carry with us, whatever sense of failure, we can come and find the blessing and the healing and the welcome that will restore us and lift us up again. Coming to that blessing is the place where we can be restored for the next part of our journey of life and faith. So this thought is entitled A Place of Blessing. And from the book of Genesis, we find the words, surely the Lord is in this place, and I knew it not. Locus Iste is a sacred motet composed by Anton Bruckner in 1869. The text is from a Latin graduale sung at a mass for the annual celebration of a church's dedication, the complete phrase being locus iste a Deo factus est. This place was made by God. Bruckner set it for 4 unaccompanied voices, for the dedication of a chapel in the new cathedral in Linz, Austria, where he had been a cathedral organist. But notwithstanding the use of locus iste in the celebration of sacred buildings, must we confine the nature of God to a sacred place? The words with which we began are based on the biblical story of Jacob's ladder, with Jacob saying, "Surely the Lord is in this place and I knew it not." And the story of the burning bush where Moses is told, "Put off your shoes from off your feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground." For Jacob, God was in a desert, at a time of wrestling with a guilty past and an unknown future. For Moses, God was in a moment of surprise, revelation, mystery, and a challenge breaking into an ordinary day's work. God in days of uncertainty, God in a moment of inspiration. No church, no cathedral, no sacred space, but two people meeting God because one way or another they were attuned to his blessing. We need our sacred spaces, from Linz Cathedral to our local church, from grandeur and symbolism to simplicity and familiarity. But don't let's limit the revelation of God to this place or that. Be aware of God in the gardens and the deserts of life, the clarity and mystery of faith, the expected and unplanned moments of holiness, the inspiration and uncertainty of purpose. God will not be confined. This place where you are, where you know God's blessing, this place was made by God. So let us pray. Living God, your presence, your blessing is not to be confined. Your revelation, your blessing is not to be limited. Help me today to be open to you and to find you in the whole of life. Amen. And with Rembrandt's Father of blessing gazing out towards us, let's reflect for a moment in silence before we're done. I close today with the words of Keith's beautiful song that we've heard. May love hold you throughout today. Pray that you may find your song and that you'll sing it. And Cicely Saunders' words from the Desert Island Discs clip that we heard yesterday. I'm me, and it's all right. I'm me, and it's all right. So I pray for all of you that you may find a love holding you today and in the future, that you will find your own song to sing, and that you can look into the face of the blessing of God and know that I'm me, and it's all right. Thank you all, and good wishes to you all, wherever you are and wherever you're going. God bless you.
Thank you, Tom.